Hi, my name is Corey Andrews. I'm from Mount Vernon. I'm 46 years old. I currently live in New Rochelle. I'm here to tell you a story about my health journey, about a little bit about myself and where I've come and how things have progressed in my life in the last few years. I'm a teacher. I'm a fourth grade teacher in New Rochelle. I'm a husband to a beautiful wife. I have a younger brother, and most importantly, I'm a child of God. So today I want to talk a little bit about my journey from as an adult, the struggles that I've had with my weight and some of the spiritual holds that have held me back and some of the changes that I've made to help overcome that. There's a lot of people I want to thank to help me along this journey. First of all, I thank God for his many blessings. I want to thank my mother for her yielding love, my wife for her support, and all my families and friends that have been part of this journey and have helped me along the way. So let's talk back when I was in high school. I was a wrestler and I was athletic, and I didn't have a weight problem then. You know, I was able to stay active and I had a pretty balanced eating habits, and I was, like I said, pretty active. But when I got to college, started developing some bad habits, and I was eating out more, and I still worked out, but just wasn't watching the kind of foods I was eating. And when you're young, you don't think about it too much because you can lose the weight quickly and you get yourself back into shape. And for the most of my 20s and 30s, my weight would go up and down. I would make a few changes, I would lose the weight. I had some periods where I really kept the weight off and then I would put it back on. But I would say in the last couple of years prior to my changes, I got bigger and I wasn't watching what I was eating, and I started to notice changes in my overall health without realizing it. For a long time, I avoided going to the doctor. I didn't go to the doctor in my 20s. I think I went once in my 30s because I had sciatica once, but for the most part, I didn't go. And my mom would always ask, have you gone to the doctor? Have you gotten yourself checked out? And I would avoid it. I wasn't addressing the issue at all. Then I got to my 40s and I started noticing that my energy level wasn't quite the same. I thought maybe, okay, I'm getting older. This is natural. I'm going to be tired a few times. Maybe I'm just, working too hard. But in reality, my health was deteriorating without me knowing it. And I remember my 44th birthday, my mom finally said, hey, you're 44 now. When are you going to get your A1C checked? When are you going to go to the doctor? So I finally caved. I didn't really want to go, but something was pulling on me to go. I don't know what it was, but I just felt like this strong need to do something, and I'm glad I did. So I got to the doctor January 2023 and got some bad news. My weight was like at 245 pounds. I had high cholesterol. I had high blood pressure. And worst of all, my A1C was in the diabetic range. And I remember calling my mom up and telling her about my A1C, and she was like, oh my God, you have diabetes. And I just froze. I was at work and I got the news and I was just like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And I remember just sitting there for like a minute and I was frozen. And I said, I have to do something. And I think that might have been a turning point for me because I was so afraid and so angry, and I had a mix of emotions that I needed to do something. So first thing I did was call my wife up and said, I need you to throw out all the soda in the house. So she did that. She got rid of all the soda. Because I knew soda was like my main problem. I was addicted to it so much that it was fueling a lot of the bad eating that I had developed. Then my wife, my mom, and I went shopping, and my mom showed us the kind of foods we need to be buying in the house and talked about how a lot of foods that we eat today are processed foods, and we're not thinking about it because we're just busy and we're living our life and we're working, we're raising children, and you get wrapped up in just being an adult and not having the time, and you don't realize that you're putting all this stuff in your body that's not good for you. So about 90% of what we put in that cart that night was food that I actually had to cook. And I had to really go on a low carb diet because I didn't know how long I had diabetes for, or if it was recent or it was something I had for a while, because I hadn't gone to the doctor. So I ate a lot of lean fish, a lot of lean meat, a lot of like chicken and pork. I stayed away from a lot of red meat, a lot of vegetables, kale, broccoli, carrots, a lot of green leafy vegetable salads. I would meal prep with Stephanie, my wife. We would make food for the week. We would limit how much we went out to eat. And at first that was a challenge, but we had to change what we were doing. And I'd say the biggest thing I got off of was soda and sugar. Like I cut a lot of that out, and that really helped. Once I started to do that, within like the 2 weeks, I lost 10 pounds. My blood pressure came down to normal. I started to feel better. And I realized that I was sick for a long time and didn't know it. And then it fueled more determination to keep going. Like I said, I always exercise, but I started to walk even more. I increased my exercise activity. I was lifting light. I was doing a lot of stuff for my core, push-ups and sit-ups, and I was making time to exercise every day, at least 30 to 45 minutes, but a lot of times longer than that. And I had become determined to change my life. I realized that I needed to do something different than what I've done before, because this felt different. This almost felt like I was at a crossroads. And one of the things that I learned about myself is that I'm an emotional eater, good or bad times. And the other thing is I was dealing with a lot of shame and a lot of guilt, and that was also fueling the eating. And once I dealt with the psychology behind why I was eating and dealt with some of the shame and feeling guilty for not doing things ahead of time and letting myself go, I started to release a lot of those emotions, and I started to say, okay, well, what can I do about it now? I started blogging about it. I shared my story with other people. And when I found that they were struggling with the same things I was struggling with, and I was verbalizing things that they felt but didn't express themselves, and it helped other people address some of the issues they were having. And next thing I know, I'm getting an outpour from so many people that it really fueled like the purpose for doing this even more so, that you're not only helping yourself, but you're helping others. The other thing that was driving this was, first, I didn't like what I was doing to myself, and I needed to change that. Second, I'm a teacher, and I'm setting an example for young people. And one of the things I always told my students is that you have to strive to be your very best. But I wasn't doing that for my health. I wasn't even going to the doctor like you're supposed to. So how can I, be that example when I'm not living the example? And then the third thing is my wife. I did not want her to have to take care of me because I couldn't stop putting, cake in my mouth, or I couldn't stop drinking soda constantly. So I made these changes not only for myself, but for the people that I love and care about. And if that doesn't get you to change, I'm not sure what else will, because, you don't live in a bubble. We live with the people we care about, and they care about us. And I wanted a better life for both of us. So that's been fueling a lot of my drive. And eventually, in 3 months, my cholesterol came down. My blood sugars were normal again. I lost about 30 to 40 pounds. And then I started to run. But when I first started, it was just a challenge. Like, let's just kind of see how this goes. I want to change up the workout routine. I talked about, what if I could run a half marathon? And I kind of put it out there. And, it seemed kind of far-fetched, but I said, I'm going to see if I could do this. So I remember the first time I ran, it was for like 30 minutes, and I was running up the block, and I was winded, and I was tired, and I was like, I don't know if I could do this. This is too much work. But over time, I was able to run around the block, then became a quarter mile, then became a half mile, then became a mile, then I could run 2 miles, then I could run 4 miles. And before I know it, I built this momentum that by November of 2023, I ran my own race. Like, I designed my own half marathon. So I ran it. I got to like 9 miles and I kind of cramped up, but I still finished it. And when I got to Kensico Park, which was like the end of the race, I had some of my students and the parents and my wife, they had organized like this celebration for me that I didn't know about. And it was really uplifting, and it made me realize that there's a bigger purpose for what I'm doing. And it was motivation to keep pushing myself and to get myself ready. And I said, in a year, I'm going to run an actual half marathon. I'm going to be ready. So I kept training, I kept running. I was able to maintain my weight. So once I got my weight off, I got down to like 165 or so. I've been able to maintain it. So that happened around November of 2022, and I've been keeping it off ever since. And that's the thing about maintenance, is you have to find that balance. So between the running and healthier eating, I've been able to do that. Now, once in a while, I can have things because I'm running so much, but the key is to find that balance. And when you keep yourself accountable, you don't let yourself gain 10 pounds or even 5 pounds. You watch it. You say, okay, let's get back to normal. I put on a pound or two here. Let's see what you're doing. Do I need to cut back? And it's that fine tuning that you develop in this new lifestyle that you build. So last May, I run my first 10K, and it was so exhilarating because it was like my first athletic competition since high school. And I remember that feeling that you get when you're in the heat of the battle in a wrestling match, and the adrenaline's pumping, and you're in like a big tournament. You have all these people around, and it's like that with running. Like, you have runners of all ages there. You had teenagers, you had 20-year-olds, you had 40-year-olds, you had people in their 80s running, and it was great because you're like this big convention of people who love this sport so much. And when I finished, there was a sense of accomplishment, but also a sense of we got to press forward. And then I started this campaign called Highway to the Half, which was, I made shirts and hoodies for this like running campaign that I started. And I signed up for the Pelham Half Marathon, which is November 30th of 2024. And that was an emotional day because that was the race I built up to. And I remember when I finished the finish line, I crossed the finish line, I hugged my wife and I hugged my mom, and I was in tears because I had accomplished something that I didn't think was possible. And I think the moral of the story is that, you know, when you put your mind to something and you decide that you're going to make changes in your life, it's amazing what you can do, both spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And now I'm training for my marathon, my full marathon, my very first one, May 4th, and I'm calling it March to the Marathon. And this march is really about continuing the journey, this lifelong journey, this lifelong journey of running and living this new life. What I've learned is that you're not just running for the moment, but it's like your entire life. If you think about it, we all have a race that we run, whether we're raising children or we're leading a career, or we may have multiple races that we're running. And even when you think you get to the mountaintop, you have to keep going because life doesn't end there. So this first marathon is a commencement of what I hope to come in my life, of this new lifestyle that I built for not only myself, but for my wife. And what I hope is that this story will serve to inspire you. If you're not a runner, you don't have to be. Maybe you do swimming, or you like to walk, or you like to do paddleball, or you play basketball. Whatever it is that you enjoy doing, be active and stay active. Start with small changes in your life. Don't try to change everything at once, because you have to maintain the things in this new life that you built. And embrace the failures that you experience along the way, because that's just learning lessons. And don't tell yourself what you can't do. Set realistic expectations, but continue to challenge yourself and build off the successes that you've had. I don't think I could have done this without the support of my family and my friends, and most importantly, having God on my side, because He gave me the grace. He gave me an opportunity to start this new journey and to hopefully give people hope that it's never too late to lead a new life. So I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank everybody for all their encouraging words that I've gotten along the way. And I wish you good luck in your journeys. And hopefully we'll cross paths at some time too. Take care.
Yo, you inspired me, seriously. I was behind you the whole way and kept me going, so thank you, man. Oh, wow. I appreciate that, thank you. Wow.
Because I'm so thankful. It's like a real chance. Oh my God.
And you did fabulous. Fabulous.